There's some pictures. Is that on? Hi guys, I am here with your Bible study. I hope you guys are having a good day. Stuff down. Alright, so today, are we in Psalms again, guys? I think we are. No, we're not. Today we are in the book of Mark. Mark chapter 5. And the devotion tonight is by Rebecca Barlow Jordan. Haven't heard from Rebecca in a while. And the Bible verse that goes with her devotion tonight is Mark 5, verses 27 and 28, which says, "When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak, because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed." You know who that's referring to? We talked about this not too long ago. That's referring to the woman that had bleeding trouble for 12 years, remember? And nobody could heal her. None of the doctors could fix her. But she just touched Jesus' cloak, and she was healed immediately. And Jesus knew that someone touched him, and he wanted to see if she'd admit it. He already knew who it was. And she did. You'll see. The healing of the demon-possessed man, the dead girl, and the sick woman. And that's it. Alright, so let's read chapter 5 of Mark. They went across the lake to the region of the Gerasenes. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an evil spirit came from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him any more, not even with a chain, for he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. That tells you right there how strong demons are. Okay, they're strong. They can do some crazy stuff, but Jesus is stronger, and they fear him. Night and day among the tombs and in the hills he would cry out and cut himself with stones. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and in the hills he would cry out and cut himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. He shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? Swear to God that you won't torture me." For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of this man, you evil spirit." Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" Because I've heard Jesus, you see this, Jesus asked what his name was. I've heard many times from people that's done exorcisms and things, and that's done house cleansings with evil spirits, that you have to find out what their name is in order to get rid of them. I don't know if that's true, but, you know. "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." And he begged Jesus again and again not to send him out of the area. A large herd of pigs was feeding on the nearby hillside. The demon begged Jesus, "Send us among the pigs. Allow us to go into them." He gave them permission, and the evil spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. And that makes you wonder, what happened to the evil spirits, you know? Did they immediately go back to hell? Did they go somewhere else looking for more people? Did they just disappear? What happens? I'd like to know. Those tending the pigs ran off and reported this in the town and countryside, and the people were out to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons sitting there, dressed in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it told the people what had happened to the demon-possessed man, and told about the pigs as well. Then the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region, and Jesus was getting into the boat. As he was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. Jesus did not let him go, but said, "Go home. to your family and tell them how much the Lord has done, what he has done for you, and how he has had mercy on you." So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. When Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him while he was by the lake. Then one of the synagogue rulers named Jairus came there. Seeing Jesus, he fell at his feet and pleaded earnestly with him, "My little daughter is dying. Please come and put your hands on her so that she will be healed and live." So Jesus went with him. A large crowd followed and pressed around him, and a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered in great deal under the care of many doctors and had spent all she had, yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak, because she thought, "If I just touch his clothes, I will be healed." Immediately her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she was freed from her suffering. At once Jesus realized that power had gone out from him. He turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" "You see the people crowding against you," his disciples answered, "and yet can you ask who touched me?" Because it was the crowd. Jesus was like there walking and people were all around, and they're like, "Can you ask who actually touched you? There are all these people here." But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell at his feet, and trembling with fear, told him the whole truth. He said to her, "Do you think he was mad because she did that? You think he's going to say, 'I did not let this happen to you,' and give her the bleeding back? You stole power from me." You think Jesus is going to do that? Or you think he's going to be nice to her? What do you think is going to happen? He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." While Jesus was still speaking, some men came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue ruler. "Your daughter is dead," they said. "Why bother the teacher anymore?" Ignoring what they said, Jesus told the synagogue ruler, "Don't be afraid, just believe." He did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they came to the home of the synagogue ruler, Jesus saw a commotion with people crying and wailing loudly. He went in and said to them, "Why all this commotion and wailing? The child is not dead, but asleep." But they laughed at him. After he put them all out, he took the child's father and mother and the disciples who were with him and went in where the child was. He took her by the hand and said to her, "Talitha cum," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Immediately the girl stood up and walked around. She was 12 years old. At this they were completely astonished. He gave strict orders not to let anyone know about this and told them to give her something to eat. And that was Mark chapter 5. I wonder what happened. I wonder what the people who were there laughing at Jesus when he said she was only asleep but not dead, and they laughed at him. Wonder what they were thinking when they saw the little girl walking around. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? All right, so the devotion tonight by Rebecca. One night on church visitation, I listened to a woman complain about unexplainable symptoms, chronic illness, and years of pain. A host of other emotional problems and relationship issues clung to her like relentless fleas, complicating her situation. I wanted to be empathetic, but even my greatest problems paled in comparison to hers. I thought about the woman who had endured constant bleeding for 12 years. Rulers of cleanliness and ritual purification conflicted with her dilemma, putting her away from those she loved. She suffered not only physically and financially, but also socially and spiritually. Obviously, she'd heard about Jesus, the healer and great physician. He was her only hope, her last chance. So pushing through the crowd, she lunged in faith, knowing if she could just touch the hem of Jesus' garment, she would be free from her suffering. As soon as her fingers touched the edge of his robe, healing shot through her like a bolt of lightning. Jesus turned and declared her healed, physically and spiritually, for her faith had freed her. The woman I was visiting needed Jesus too. I wanted to introduce her to the one who could meet all her needs, especially her spiritual ones, but the woman couldn't muster the courage to call out his name. When others are too weak or fearful to try, we can be the hands that reach out to Jesus for them. While Jesus doesn't always grant complete physical healing to all in this lifetime, he does offer spiritual freedom to anyone who asks. Our prayers for these can help span the distance between fear and faith. Because some people, they just won't, for one reason or another, they won't ask to be saved. They won't talk to the Lord. There's a lot of people you need to pray for. Pray for so they will come to the Lord. They need a lot of prayer. And I'm sure you know people like that. There's a lot of people in my family that need prayer to come to the Lord, that are lost. They call me a Bible thumper. They make fun of me for believing. All the time. They just laugh and others agree with them, you know. And that's very, very, very close family. So, and I don't want them to go to hell. I want them to find the Lord as well. But they think it's all a joke and that he doesn't exist and everything. And that I'm just crazy. And so many bad things have happened, and you think, oh, that's going to change this person now. But it never does. Never does. I really think there's an evil spirit involved here. But, the Guidepost is sending our animal devotion book. I see that they have it shipped, but I'm not sure exactly when it's going to come. But it is shipped now, so we'll be getting it soon, hopefully, so we can start doing it with the Bible studies as well. So it's a book. It ain't a little pamphlet anymore. I ordered a whole book. So the next Bible study, guys, will be in the book of Acts. Acts chapter 3, if you want to study up on it. And it'll be by Cynthia Ruccetti. Haven't heard from her in a good while. Okay, so I'm going to go get that set up for us. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Let's bring those souls to Jesus, and God willing, we'll see you guys again tomorrow with another Bible reading. Bye, guys. God bless.